Good morning, game.
Good morning, gamers. I have constructed a device that allows for my Twitch chat to cut my oxygen while I play video games.
Breathe air!
For $10 or 10,000 fake internet points, my Twitch viewers can take their swing at my life. This is decidedly bad for two reasons. The first being that I can taste all the superglue I used making this apparatus. The second being that I'll die after a couple minutes without oxygen. But I've always considered myself something of a goon. I like to live on the edge. I hate double entendres, and I've never experienced tachycardia. So while my Twitch chat tries to change that, I'll be fighting for my life in virtual reality, with the hope of completing a single mission in an indie flight game called VTOL VR. Now, titanic disclaimer here. Do not do this. Asphyxiation is dangerous, the internet has no code of ethics, and this bit doesn't really make sense for most video games.
Alright, Chad, I'm gonna try and take this guy's order. I'd really appreciate it if you didn't do anything too sick.
But when you've got a toaster on your head, a flight stick in your hand, and an ejection seat cupping your cheeks, you don't really have time to consider the efficacy of one more computer peripheral. Also, if I don't get my shit kicked in by a 15-year-old with their mom's credit card every Tuesday night, I consider the whole week to be something of a wash. I guess I'm just built different. Context: I doubt your parents ever sat you down and had this talk, so it's time you heard the truth from a balding mid-20s white dude on the internet. You can trust me, because when you've spent your entire life in recession, esoteric internet knowledge is pretty much the only currency that you value. Look, what I'm trying to say is that streaming is weird. It is a fundamentally strange endeavor. You start because you want to share something you love with your friends. You download some free programs, buy a cheap USB mic, attach it backwards on a mic arm, and realize that talking to yourself for hours on end doesn't actually come naturally. What kind of music do you listen to, chat? In time, it's not just yourself. You build up a small follower base of War Thunder-loving Scandinavians, despite never playing War Thunder or painting a barcode on any of your ships, and decide it's time to add a little bit of interaction to your streams.
Jesus Christ.
Fast forward a year, and dozens of people are reaching through space and time to wrap their hands around your neck while you're trying to fly fast and low over a hospital to dodge a radar-guided missile.
That's alright, I'll use this city to cover me from that missile.
It's at this point you realize that your Twitch chat might not have the best intentions, but it's not your chat that you need to be worried about. Pardon the meta commentary, but at this moment in the video, I had originally segued to a 3v1 dogfight set to Sebastian Boehm's Blue Monday.
Oh shit, his boy's on me.
I used that as a backdrop to do a bit where I attempted to gaslight you into thinking that surface-level basic fighter maneuvering is prerequisite knowledge to hitting the Go Live button on any Twitch stream. To set up for this bit, I went to my local Ross Dress for Less and bought a $10 dress shirt, as well as the cheapest sunglasses I could find, which I then modified so I could look a little nerdy. While I succeeded in putting this outfit together, that didn't stop my wife from telling me to get a job. I took an entire day of my life to record and edit this bit, including shooting sequences with a whiteboard and demonstrations, only to realize it wasn't funny at all. Instead of presenting as a comedic misdirect in the vein of dumb YouTube man did his research for the first time ever, it smacked of the same forlorn smugness of a gamer who downloads DCS, skims the unclassified F-18 NATOPS, and could tell you that a hot start is concerning, but definitely couldn't tell you why the question, "Are you lined up on north or south whiting?" is terrifying. So I cut the entire segment. I lied awake that night and could only think that all that content will be lost in time, like tears in rain. That's what Twitch does to a man. You think you're in touch with your own emotions until you're driving to Planet Fitness, see a Nissan Altima flip over the median, and all you can think to say is, "Clip it, chat." Anyway, we'll come back to the dogfight later, but I'll talk more about the bit that I cut out in the exclusive content that I now post on Patreon. Currently, shitposting on the internet is my full-time job, and if you'd like to lock me in that cage, the Patreon in the upper right corner is a surefire way to do so. I digress. There's a lot of misinformation regarding how oxygen masks actually work, and I feel it's important to get that out of the way before more of these comments show up.
Who did that? You can get someone to mod VTOL for you depending on how many Gs you're pulling. It will restrict your airflow. Yeah, I keep getting that comment. That's not, like, you guys know that's wrong, right? The airflow remains the same. In fact, when Gs get pulled, the OBOGs make sure that air is forced. Was that a Canopy? That got some insane airtime. In a high G thing, the positive pressure pushes air down pilot's lungs. The only thing that's restricting airflow is the pressure on your chest. But even then, breathing is not. That's not what causes pilots to G-lock. The G-lock is caused because the blood is being forced out of their head. It's not because they're not getting enough air.
If we get you a 20 feet Anaconda, can you hook it up to VTOL to constrict you based on how many G's you pull?
Look, I'll be the first to admit that I'm drawing my lines in the sand arbitrarily. I don't put a high value on playing realistically.
Wave off, wave off. No.
And the actual reason I didn't implement this is because it would be complicated. And also it's easier to implement a system that just cuts your oxygen entirely when people donate Twitch subs.
Alright, you caught me off guard for that one.
This creates no small amount of dilemma for me. I am deeply thankful for the kindness of these donations, but it's not lost on me, they're also attempted murder.
I'm holding the mask open. I will not be choked out before I've even gotten to my aircraft.
How does the oxygen system work, you ask? I legally cannot tell you that. At no point did I implement an anti-suffocation valve, which, on the most technical level, means that every stream I've done with this apparatus violates Twitch's terms of service. But I don't want to talk about my criminal past. Let's talk about my criminal future. Despite several early attempts on my oxygen supply, once inside the actual aircraft, everyone chilled out a little bit. I didn't read the mission briefing. For the same reasons, I never check the weather before flying. Those being an innate and masculine desire for self-endangerment. Be a man. Die in a microburst. But I can tell you in hindsight, the primary mission objectives are to blow up some radars and sink some ships. To do this, you're aided by several wingmen who, by their very design, can be written off as expendable.
Wingman, turn radar off.
Roger, roger.
There we go. Keep us a little quieter. Wait, did you just say with a Roger, Roger like a Star Wars robot?
In an unwelcome twist of fate, this mission has a roughly 9-minute and 33-second transit time until you get to play the game. And don't think for a second that I'm going to waste any XP just for the sake of immersion. Once we reach the actual objective, my mission was to use anti-radiation missiles to home in on radar emissions and suppress air defenses. Now that's a mouthful. Really, the only important thing you need to know is that these missiles passively track radiation sources and will tell me to shoot as soon as they acquire a signal.
Shoot. Is that a valid shoot cue?
Why is this an issue? According to the government of Northeast Dakota, things like bananas, Wi-Fi, and tanning beds also emit radiation. And the chances that I locked onto someone eating a post-workout snack while scrolling Instagram in a tanning bed may be low, but they're definitely not zero.
Kilo 11 Magnum.
Anyway, I fired all the missiles at something, and then realized all my wingmen were fighting for their lives nearby.
Missile on me. Going evasive.
In this mission, it's not my prerogative to do any dogfighting, but when you've got guys like Demon, Dax78, Russell935, the Bloody Sniper, the Narrator, and the Administrator, who will pay way too much on Patreon to force me to say their names out loud every video, you can bet they're also waiting in chat for the worst possible time to cut my oxygen. So, I wasn't taking any chances on my teammates losing the dogfight. Little did I know, they'd actually already lost the dogfight, and I had just merged into the hopeless situation I was describing earlier in the video.
Oh, buddy.
Also, whatever my missiles had hit definitely wasn't a radar site. At this moment, every radar on the map had spotted, tracked, and connected to the Bluetooth on my plane, and I realized they were about to bust it down sexual style. So the best play was to just run for my life.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to die for it. I'm gonna go ahead and tuck into the mountain and hope.
You may be wondering, how haven't they shot me down considering there are 3 of them and 1 of me? I am also wondering that. After the mission, I went back to check the cockpit tapes and I found this. Suffice to say, I made it into the hills, and shot down the single pursuer that was trying to like and subscribe and ring my bell icon.
Flash 1. Alright, bug out, bug out, bug out.
In the silence that followed, I couldn't help but reflect on the fact that I was feeling very full of oxygen. This was unusual. Oftentimes, when I give my Twitch chat a hammer, they see everything as a nail.
You gotta do some squats, boy.
This is the moment that I checked the chat and realized that during the past several minutes, I had missed no less than 2 sound alerts giving my chat control of my plane because of the sound of my own breathing. If you think the internet lets anything slide, take it. It was never mine to hold anyway.
I would fly 500 miles and I would fly 500 more, just to be the pilot who flew 1,000 miles and missed 2 sound alerts.
Look, all I'm saying, do 100 streams and miss 2 sound alerts. They won't call you a streamer.
At this moment in the mission, I decided it was time to return to base and rearm on all my munitions.
I think we're gonna need a bigger payload.
Which, you guessed it, meant another 20-minute round trip. What the developers call realistic mission design, I like to call 2 fishing levels and a whole lot of burnt shrimp. How was the mission going so far?
Look, I'll be honest with you. Not our finest work, but not our least fine work, because we're gonna make it home. We didn't really complete the objective, and all of my wingmen are dead, but, you know.
Hey Gav, long time no see.
Hey, Crypto.
To celebrate my return I will be cutting your oxygen.
So, after rearming, refueling, taking off on a taxiway, and getting choked for taking off on a taxiway,
Thank you for that, Rips.
I flew the requisite return trip, missed all of my targets, and crashed into a hospital.
Oh!
There's no limit to the lives on these missions, but there is a limit to how many lives I have in real life. And at this point, I'd hit the normal 2 hours that I stream before I turn the camera off and go stare into the mirror for a while. So did I complete the mission? No. Did I survive the stream?
Thank you for your generosity.
Yes. So I'll be doing plenty more of them, including the day this is uploaded. Join me in the description or pinned comment. Thanks to my patrons on screen, and I'll see you all on stream.